Hello hunters, I'm Brian Postumus, Statewide Hunter Outreach Coordinator with Colorado Parks and Wildlife. I'm joined today in this video series with my colleague Chad Hanna. We're going to talk to you through numerous videos trying to clear up the big game license process. We know in Colorado that it can be a little bit complex, but once you understand the process, you're going to have plenty of opportunities to get a quality big game hunting license. For this video, we're going to focus on deer, elk, pronghorn, and bear.
So we have in Colorado two types of licenses for big game, limited and unlimited.
The unlimited license is also referred to as an over-the-counter license, or OTC, if you want to get into acronyms. The unlimited licenses, they're just that. There's no limit on how many licenses can be sold. They're available in certain GMUs for certain seasons and for certain species. We have some hunts available for bull elk during the second or third rifle season. We've got some archery opportunities for elk. We have over-the-counter bear. We have over-the-counter archery pronghorn in some units. The other type of license that we have is going to be a limited license. And just like the name implies, there will be a limit. There's a quota of licenses. Those licenses are distributed and allocated across the state. Because there's a limit, it means there's less hunters that are out in the field. On those over-the-counter or unlimited licenses, hunters should expect a lot of hunters out in the field with them during the same season. Maybe the hunt experience isn't quite as high quality as what you might get off of a limited license. So I encourage hunters to really think about getting a limited license, and if they can't get it certain years, they fall back to that over-the-counter option.
So for limited licenses, there's multiple ways to acquire one in Colorado. Can you go into more depth those different ways that hunters can acquire a limited license?
You bet. So limited licenses are available throughout the year. It starts out through the primary limited license draw. The deadline for that draw will be the first Tuesday of April. Any licenses that are still available, right, if the quota hasn't been used up through the primary draw, those licenses are now made available through the secondary draw. The deadline for the secondary draw is typically the first Tuesday of July. There's often a lot of licenses that are available after the secondary draw, and those licenses go to what we call the leftover list. The leftover list becomes available first come, first serve, the first Tuesday of August. The over-the-counter licenses go on sale at that same time.
So what big game species can you hunt here in Colorado?
Yes, so in Colorado we've got quite a few big game species. The big four are going to be deer, elk, pronghorn, and bear. On deer, sometimes we break those up into mule deer and white-tailed deer. We also have moose, we've got mountain goat, we've got bighorn sheep, and we've got desert sheep. We also have some species that are managed a little bit different, such as mountain lions. They're managed a little bit different. You get your licenses through a different process.
State is broken up into what we call game management units, GMUs. Can you describe to our viewers more in detail game management units and why they're important?
Yeah, game management units, GMUs, is so important to a hunter. They have to know where they're allowed to hunt. When they get their license, it's going to tell them exactly what units that they can hunt legally in. So a game management unit is basically, Colorado is broken up into a bunch of different units across the state. This is how we distribute licenses, this is how we distribute hunters across the state. It's also how we make sure that the game populations stay healthy and they last into future generations, so we all have an opportunity to keep hunting them. The maps for the game management units can be found on the inside back page of your big game hunting brochure. I encourage hunters, when you watch through this video series, you probably ought to have one of these big game brochures with you. We're going to refer to it off and on throughout this series.
So as you stated, game management units are important to know so hunters know where they're hunting. They're also part of hunt codes, and hunt codes can be a little hard to decipher. Can you try and break those hunt codes down and how you would read one?
You bet. So hunt codes are super important. That is how a hunter applies for these limited big game licenses. It's going to show them the where, the what, the how, the when to hunt, right? So it's all wrapped up into that hunt code. So hunt code is basically 8 digits. The very first digit is going to be the species that they get to hunt. Super simple: D for deer, E for elk, B for bear, P for pronghorn antelope. The next digit is going to be the sex or the gender that hunters are allowed to hunt. It's really simple here. M for male, F for female. There's actually an E for either sex. If you can get your hands on those either sex tags, it offers more opportunities out in the field. The next three digits are the GMU, or the game management unit that we have. We've got so many game management units that we have to get into the three digits. If it happens to be a game management unit such as GMU 20, that's a three digit, so it'd be 020 in the hunt code. The next two digits are gonna be an alphanumeric. And this is kind of a combination of what kind of lands you're allowed to hunt on and one of the seasons that you're allowed to hunt. And so what I look for, I don't have access to private property to go hunt, so I'm looking to hunt on public lands. So I'm looking for one of those alphanumerics where the alpha has an O in it. And I think of O means that I have the option to hunt on public and private. If I go hunt on private, I need to get permission before I go out there. There are some of these hunt codes where the alphanumeric, the alpha is a P, and that means private land only. And here's another acronym for you, PLO, private land only. If you end up getting one of those limited licenses for private land only, makes sense. You can't use that license to hunt on public land. It's going to be on private land. You do have to have permission before you can hunt on that property. The last numeric that's in there, the last digit, that is going to be the method of take. And it's real simple: A for archery or bow hunting, M for muzzle loading, and R for rifle.
In this video, we've covered the two types of licenses in Colorado, limited and unlimited, GMUs or game management units, and hunt codes. Join us in other videos as we discuss draw preference points, draw process, and how to obtain multiple tags in a ute.